All right, we are here. We're live on Foxhound Gaming, the Foxhound podcast. This is Fox,
And Hound.
and we're here to just talk your ear off about what the going-ons of today.
Yes, sir.
And to start it off, I wanted to bring something up because the whole idea of the podcast is going to be kind of connecting our worlds together, the worlds that we live and are somewhat separated by, but have been mixed together in lately. Pokemon. The birthday of Pokemon is coming up on, I believe, the 27th.
Oh, wow.
It's about to be 28 years old.
I'm older than Pokemon. So are you.
Yeah, I'm slightly older than Pokemon. I'm surprised that it's this old and still just leading. Well, I guess I'm not surprised. I mean, something about Pokemon makes it marketable, right? And they've
I feel like it's making a comeback. It's making a comeback.
It made a
like
comeback.
It's getting more buzz now than it has for like 15 years.
Yeah, I agree. Especially now because everything that's been going on. I mean, of course, I know you're not big in the Pokemon games right now, but the Scarlet Violet release was kind of it wasn't great. It didn't go
It's
well.
kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah,
I got that vibe from the people that played it because everyone was super hyped to play it, and then everybody kind of got quiet about it.
Yeah, it was not well received just because of how lazily it felt it was done. Especially when back in January of last year, we got a game called Pokemon Legends Arceus, and it was like an open world kind of game. You could throw the Pokeball freely; everything was free. That game was done very well, but this one was done very not well.
But well, I'm glad I passed on it. I decided not to play it from a couple people that tried to convince me. I said, nope. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, but I mean, Pokemon TCG. I mean, that's the thing. That's not where they make their money, right? They don't make their money in the gaming. They make a good amount of money with gaming, but most of their money is made from, doing merchandising.
Yeah,
and a lot of it is made from the TCG, especially now. I feel like TCG exploded over the course of this last year.
Right, but isn't merchandising still like 80% or 70% of it, something silly? And the TCG is like still doing great, but it's still that much of a weighted value on merchandise. So they could never do anything else other than sell stuffed Pikachu's and T-shirts, and they'd probably still be just fine for the rest of their days.
Yeah, I believe even just their merchandising alone, they still stand at the very top above Hello Kitty, Mickey Mouse, and Winnie the Pooh. Which, go figure.
Well, Winnie the Pooh's banned in China, so he's got a handicap. Winnie the Pooh's doing well, given the fact
that Hello Kitty is in fact not banned.
Right. Pooh's banned in like 3 different Chinese countries, and he's still getting it done. So I gotta give respect to Pooh. Shout out to Pooh.
Respect the hustle.
Respect that hustle. But with the Pokemon, the thing that I love about it is we did collect them as kids. We collected them a lot as kids, and actually I forgot how much I collected them as kids, and still until I started collecting them again as an adult. And I think that was kind of an interesting thing. You kind of forget how much fun you had playing it as a kid, and when it sparks, like most people feel guilty when they feel like they're doing something as a kid, like, oh, I'm a grown up. Like, and it was like, no, I didn't think that at all. I dove right back in. I love the game, and then obviously I love sports, but Pokemon is awesome. And the market right now, people love sports cards and they love Pokemon cards. It's a good community. So it's cool that they're kind of linking together somehow. Like if you would have told me when I was a kid, like, oh man, someday sports cards, baseball cards, and Charizards are going to be 1 and 1 in the same store, I'd be like, okay, like I don't know, man, but it's happening and it's cool.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of the thing that I'm most excited about is that all these different card memorabilia what am I thinking of, like platforms and just companies in general are really pushing forward with a lot of different stuff, just like how I like that the way Pokemon cards work now comparative to what they used to be. Like if you think like base set, jungle set, The Team Rocket set. It's like the Team Rocket set was really the first ones to do like specialized Pokemon, because you get into it and you go, okay, well now I have to collect Erica's Bulbasaur, Erica's Venusaur, and now it's like, oh, now I need Charizard V to evolve into Charizard V Max.
Exactly. I probably got out of the game at that point that they got a little more complicated, and I'm old. I was a little older, but I'm kind of like glad I did, because Pokemon almost seemed confusing to me at some point, because I didn't stick with it as far as when all the new ones came out later down the road. I was more of an original fan, but I love the V's now. I think that got me back into it. I jumped right back in really at the right time. The V's make it great. The V Stars make it great. The V Maxes make it great. I like that they have good cards to counter those, so they're not really OP. I feel like they've done a good job fixing some of that. Of course, there's power decks, but it's part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not too one-sided or anything. I feel like there's a lot of strategy involved to it now.
And they certainly made the collection part of it a lot more fun, especially because, as funny as it is, I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. I like that Pokemon now has the same thing sports has, where they have collectible autos in the sets.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious.
They got autographs? They have autographs? Oh,
yeah,
man,
so
awesome.
like trainers, you can get like specific trainer cards, and they have autographs on them. And so you can get the like the Leon autograph card. And to me, that's...
Is there a guy that's Leon? There's like a human version of Leon, or no?
I don't think so. No.
Right, so it's some guy named Bill that's making $15 an hour to sign names. It's really an interesting concept if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why it's so cool, right? Is like
it's funny. It is
because
funny.
There's these made up characters, and now they have to figure out, how does this person have an autograph? But I mean, then again, you can look at some of these people's autographs. Like right now, right? I'm looking over, and I see my Romeo Dobbs, and I see that autograph, and I'm like, that's nothing. It looks like a messed up W next to an O.
Right.
And you go, creating an autograph is probably a lot easier for a made up person.
Yeah, because Bill at $15 an hour has got it down pat.
Exactly.
Pikachu and yep.
Pikachu auto.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That would be funny. That's different. That would be hilarious.
The behind the scenes, like, who's this guy that has this Pikachu font?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so that was one thing I wanted to bring up, just Pokemon, and I know that alongside that, after that comes March, and so with that comes a bit of madness that I know you've been pining over.
I mean, have you been following any college basketball?
Not as much as I probably should.
Nobody does. That's the thing with college basketball. There's the crazy fan. I know a couple of them, but they're a dime a dozen, and they love college basketball. They're obsessed with it. Other than that, people don't really follow it till March Madness, and everybody says, I love college basketball, and they go into March Madness. I just know this from experience, and they get a bracket, and they fill it out like they know exactly what they're talking about. They couldn't name 3 people on that entire pool of teams, but that's just we also have the benefit of having these power schools like Alabama football or Kentucky basketball, so people can at least have fun doing it. But I got out of it a little bit for the last couple of years, and I noticed that I didn't do as good as my brackets. So just like in fantasy football this year, I of course decided to take a little serious. So with college, I've been watching some games. There's a bunch of good talent out there, bunch of 1 seeds there for a while over the course of a couple of weeks, where 5 number 1 seeds were lost their 1 seed right after getting their 1 seed. So there's definitely a lot of up and down chaos in the March Madness. So it's going to be a year where somebody could just get lucky and get a good run. But yeah, my 3 teams would be right now going into, there's 3 games left for most teams. That's including tonight. So I just looked at some of the games tonight in case anybody is interested in watching some and wants to catch a good game. UCLA is facing off tonight against Utah at 8 o'clock. UCLA number 4 in the country. They're 23-4. That's my favorite team as far as overall. On a 6-game win streak. They've just had a great season. Utah's 17-11, and they sit at a spot tonight where they're unranked, clearly at 17-11. But a win tonight over a number 4 UCLA actually puts them right in that bubble. It's a quad 4 win. They'd be 18-11. Probably win out if they pull that off. So pretty important game. Be a pretty fun game to watch. Also at 8, you got San Diego, who's 11-17. Not very good at all, but they're playing number 12 Gonzaga, 23-5, going off a little skid, and then Northwestern versus Illinois, another great game at 6. So that's actually on right now. Number 21 Northwestern, 20-7. Illinois 18-9. Same thing. Illinois gets a win against a ranked team. They're probably in the tournament. Northwestern gets a win. They're for sure in the tournament. Illinois is for sure out. So kind of a good time of that season where you can at least tell who's gonna get in and who's not. But yeah, that's tonight's sports.
So we still have like a week or two before March Madness really starts.
Well, because then you also still got your conference tournaments. So what happens is you got three more games left, and then every conference does it slightly different, but most conferences just seed out to like the top 8 teams in the conference, 1 through 8. 8 plays 1, 7 versus 2, so on. And if you win your conference, you get an automatic tournament bid. So that's the one thing with college basketball. No matter how out of it you are, as long as you're in your top 8 in your conference come end of the season, teams every now and then have that magical run, and they had a bad season and were like 15-17 and make the tournament because they win their conference championship. So basically 3 games left, conference championships, and then it's March Madness time. Be Selection Sunday and kick off right there at the end of the first week of March.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do then. Is probably if not next week. Looks like it doesn't start until what does it say? The 14th. So okay, so probably come the 9th. Looks like that'll be 2 weeks from now. Yeah, so 2 weeks from now, the 9th, I'll prepare for it, and I'll have everything ready to go so that I can we'll stream the brackets and everything, and just make sure that I got all that. We'll choose brackets on here, and maybe I'll try and catch up in that time frame.
It's tough. Yeah, I got one. I forgot my one thing that I gotta say, because this is good if anybody does listen ever. Because maybe it'll pan out. But my sleeper pick, that's a team that I think is going to come out of nowhere. Wake Forest. They're 17-11. They were considered out of it. They had a losing record halfway through the season. In the last 3 games, they beat North Carolina, they beat Kentucky, or they barely lost Kentucky. I'm sorry, but that was 3 games ago. They're on a 2-game win streak. They're going in against Syracuse. They've got a kid on their team, Tyree Appleby, and he transferred out of Florida. Basically, Florida's garbage now. This kid's amazing, but he's about 6 foot tall. Just got a total package, like a AI Allen Iverson kind of guy. And then they also have this kid, Damian Monsanto, who's shooting 41%. He's actually the only person to shoot as many threes at that higher percent at 3-point in college since J.J. Redick. And nobody's talking about him. And he started halfway through the season. So, yeah, and they play the rest of the season, they've got pretty easy schedule, I believe. Let me see. They go against Notre Dame, Boston College, and Syracuse. And when you hear those teams, you think, oh man, it's not that bad. They're 40-85 combined this year. All 3 of them have completely collapsed. They have a combined winning percentage of 46%. So they really are playing a pretty scrub teams on the way out, and which would put them at 20-11 coming off that win against North Carolina. So they're going to punch their ticket. At one point in the year, they were 9-10. And they're going to finish 20-11. So little sleeper team in case anyone's watching.
So Wake Forest,
8-9 seed. Yeah, Wake Forest. That's my call.
Okay.
I've seen him play a couple games. I watched the North Carolina game. I was fascinated. I actually watched to see North Carolina, and I ended up watching Tyree Appleby, and then this Monsanto kid just hitting threes like just crazy. He's a young kid, and you can tell he's just getting his confidence going. And his 3-point percentage is 42%. That's what he's shooting right now this season. So pretty nasty.
Well, then that's something to watch for. Then I mean, do you think Wake Forest is your sleeper pick? Like they go all the way?
So basically what I do is I'm going to be having some sort of money in this in some way, even if it's a little bit. But I got 3 teams. So I got Wake Forest because there's my 8, 9 seed. They could get a little higher. I've got UCLA. Like I said, when I was doing the tonight, they played 8 against Utah. They're 23-4. I think they have the complete game. So I like UCLA. So that would be my heavy favorite of the teams because they should be a 1 seed, if not a high 2. And then my other one is Tennessee, who is 20-8. But they just had that one big win against number 1 Alabama. However, since then they've dropped back-to-back to Kentucky and ranked A&M. Kentucky looks like a different team. They're all of a sudden their freshmen were playing great, and they only lost that game by 3. Good fight. And then Texas A&M is they're also on a 6-game win streak and ranked in the country, and they fought them well too. So Tennessee's a mid-grade team. I'm going with them. They can shoot the ball well. They're kind of never out of a game. So UCLA would be my big one. Tennessee, my mid one. Wake Forest would be my sleeper if you want to impress your friends with the thing. And if you don't, I didn't say anything. It was all a mirage.
It's all a mirage.
And I don't bet a lot. I do not bet a lot of money. I keep it low key.
Wake Forest out in the first round.
That's happened so many times, man. I probably shouldn't say anything because the last time I talked big was on Georgetown when I was in college, and they were the 2 seed to get upset by what's his name, Steph Curry's Davison in the second round. I'm like, oh yeah, way to find out who that guy is. Yeah.
Well, that's I don't know. I don't know who the actual player himself was because I know college football I'm a little less on, but that's commentator curse, right? I mean, I remember you and Pops at one point were talking big on a Nebraska quarterback, and you were talking about, oh man, he's this good, he's so good.
You might be talking about the coach, Scott Frost, right? Is that what you're talking about? Who was supposed to turn our whole program around? And
no, it was it was definitely a
Taylor Martinez.
Taylor Martinez. That's who it was. You guys were talking so big about it, like, oh man, he's gonna be. He really is showing promise.
He's looking great. Year.
And I watched the first game with him, and I think he ended the game with like 3 interceptions, less than 100 yards passing.
Oh, he fell apart.
I was like, yeah, he's good. He seems real good.
He was great. That's what's crazy, but then fell apart. But that's what sucks when you have that happen. You have a fantastic freshman year. You don't know what these guys are going to do in the off season. You don't know what kind of tenacity they have. A lot of times we write these guys off for that one and done. It's like, oh man, he's so great. It's like, what's great is to come back and do it again and to get in the off season like a Jordan, get bigger. And he got worse every year, so we were almost kind of stuck with him. His sophomore year he got worse, but it was like, man, look what he did freshman year, and then he got even worse his junior year, and it was like, So he kind of put us at a time where we needed a savior in Nebraska, where he actually dug us even deeper, and it's so bad there now. But Matt Rule just got a 5-star. First time I've ever even heard of that. So we just got a 5-star quarterback recruit. So
there you go.
There it is.
We'll see what comes of that.
Because we got the coach of the Panthers. That's who went to Nebraska. The guy who left the Panthers early in the season. So.
Good winner there.
Well, the thing is, he was before the Panthers, and some guys aren't meant for the pros, So
That's true.
We got lucky because he was coming in as like his head between his legs, and and it's like, I think we might have got lucky.
Look at what was his name? Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that guy's wild.
Came in.
I mean, look at the Jags. The Jags made the playoffs this year. It's just a hard team to coach. No, they just made the playoffs this year. 1 year away from that guy, and nothing else different.
He came in, blamed all the players for being bad, and then they went and won. They went and won the division, made the playoffs.
Right. Did he kick the kicker or something like that? He kicked the kicker.
Yeah, he did something. He did something crazy.
He did kick a kicker. That's And it's like, oh, what's the college coach? He's kicking college kids. It's even worse because they can't say anything. This guy just happens to be a millionaire, so he's don't kick me, idiot.
Yeah.
But Urban Meyer was trying to do the college coach thing, and obviously we found out he's probably a very horrible college coach he was great as far as his championships, but ultimately he was probably a horrible guy to play for. Probably why he left town every now and then. And look at Aaron Hernandez playing for him. That's kind of creepy looking back.
Which is funny because the opposite side of that, right? The opposite side of angry, active, wild. As a Tampa Bay fan, I can't help but look at Todd and go, where's the life? Where it's not that I'm like, oh man, you should be screaming, you should be, but the difference in Todd Bowles between a touchdown and a 3-and-out is the same facial expression. It never changes.
And it's not a good facial expression. If you're gonna have that type of attitude, you got to do it like Mike Tomlin. That's how you stare and look and do nothing, but you look hard. You look super hard.
That's why I'm excited for Dave Canals. That's how you pronounce that, right? Dave Canals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm excited for him. Yesterday he came out because he had the announcement alongside Bruce Arians, stating he's not looking for another quarterback. He is wanting to try Kyle Trask.
See, look right there at what the rumor mill can create. You know, I mean, just recently I heard Belichick and Brady on a interview on the radio together. Oh, they said all that was BS. All that rumor and everything, they were laughing together. And they're having a great time. And they're like, the media just really wanted a story between Tom and Bill. And they're like, yeah, look, son, we got 6 Super Bowls together. I'm like, right, yeah. Why didn't anybody think about that? But rumors can really, literally, follow the whole story because they don't care if it's true or not. They just care if it sticks. That's it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that was the whole rumor mill for the Bucs for, the whole year. This whole year, that was the rumor mill. Was everyone was like, oh man, who's going to be the Bucs quarterback next year? And for me personally, I was always excited for Kyle Trask. It has nothing to do with him and I sharing the same name. It has everything.
Well, it's not about that. I agree with you on the one. You know how I feel about Kyle Trask. The thing is, I bet on some Florida games when he was in college finishing up. He was the number 1 recruited quarterback coming out, albeit I think he was a 2nd-round pick. That was a year of no quarterbacks, which is fascinating to think about. But he was the one quarterback that was really good. And the only reason I really remember is I put money on a Florida game, and he sat out that bowl game. And they got their ass beat. And I was like, great job, Kyle. But at the end of the day, I was like, all right, he's going to the NFL. He's getting paid. So he goes to the NFL. He goes behind Tom Brady. They take the number 1 quarterback in the league. For 2 years, he's behind Tom Brady prepping. We've seen what happens with Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre or any of these ones that kind of filter in and process. It normally works if you do it properly. I guess I was baffled. And to me, this makes sense that he's playing because otherwise, what was that entire investment and everything for?
And honestly, there are backups to Tom Brady that have proven careers.
Yeah. Matter of fact, that's one of the best places to be in the NFL is to be a 2nd or 3rd string quarterback. You're probably going to get paid at some point, and you're not even going to get to play because they're going to find out you weren't as good.
Yeah.
Think about the one guy from the Packers that they went all in on. What was his name? Matt Flynn or something?
Oh, gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're talking years ago. Yeah, that guy got paid to do nothing.
Not Garoppolo, not Brissett. And mind you, Brissett was a 3rd-string quarterback when they moved him to the Colts. And they got a lot of value out of that. Their 3rd-string quarterback. The Garoppolo is one who did pan out. But there was another one. I want to say it was Matt Flynn. I'd have to look it up. But
Matt Castle?
Well, Matt Castle. There's another one, too, named like Matt Flynn. But yes, Matt Castle's
I always felt bad for him because I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was a really good quarterback with no help in the world of coaching. He never had like a well-coached team behind him outside of the Patriots, right? I mean,
right.
But yeah, I mean, you look at the progression of quarterbacks, and so that's why I'm looking at this draft right now. I don't know if you've seen the mock draft and how a lot of people are looking at it.
Of course. I think I'd see one a day. Some of them I don't even get the credibility of some of them though. Like I got a good one today at least, and that made me happy. But
I like
some of them are horrible.
I like Justin Fields going to the Panthers.
Well, I don't understand any of that's going on right now because is this a thing? I tried to kind of look into it more, and it's like, is this another rumor? Is this just another rumor? Because why would the Bears not take the number 1 player, who's the clear-cut number 1 player, who's a game changer, and a defensive lineman, which they need? You take the guy from Georgia who's like basically a monster truck. You don't need a quarterback. You have the ability to not go with a quarterback and take that guy. And he deserves to be the number 1 pick. It's like, they might trade him.
But you know what?
And do this.
Here's the thing. I would trade pick spots. If only because...
If you didn't need them.
Yeah,
the Bears need them. They just traded Roquan Smith, too. Well, they don't even have their superstar linebacker.
But hear me out, right? Hear me out. This is why. When I think of what's going on in Chicago, right? Obviously, they need a full retool. They lost Mac. They lost Roquan. It's tough. It's real. It's rough over there.
I mean, yeah.
But the thing I'm looking at for them is if they don't need a quarterback, all they need to do is make sure they fall behind someone who needs a quarterback, which the 2 and 3 team need quarterbacks.
Well, yeah, I mean the 2 and 4 because the Cardinals are that 3 aren't going to take anybody with Kyler Murray there, and that new coach just came out. He's in love.
Oh yeah, so. I guess and 4, yeah. So as long as they end up at the 5th spot, they're okay. And I feel like the only people that have anything to throw in are the Cardinals and Colts, because the Texans right now get to just sit and go, well, we have the 2nd pick, so we are.
That's a good point.
Something.
That's a good point. That's probably the ones I've seen the draft trades on is in that regard, because I see what you're saying there. Because if the Bears could get essentially, they could still go get Jarrett at 5, because the Cardinals aren't going to go with the D tackle. The Texans need a quarterback. The Colts need a quarterback. Who's the other one? Yeah, so they could nuzzle up behind the Colts at the 4 spot, because the Seahawks would maybe pull the trigger. And there's going to be, you got to think too, man. There's going to be some draft day slicksters out there trying to come up out of nowhere. That's the thing. I think this year we might get a lot more excitement, and with the way the NFL's.
Yeah, and so it's, to me, right, the only reason you would trade Justin Fields is because you want more number 1 picks. Because here's how I would view it, right? Trade Justin Fields to the Texans, right? And now the Texans have Justin Fields. And now Chicago has the 1 and 2 pick. So they get their linemen and they get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young.
Yeah, that's actually it's not bad. It's not a bad move. I mean, the only reason I say it's not bad, there's a reason why it's a good move and a bad move. Good move because it's a good move for most people. Most people don't trust in Justin Fields. Justin Fields was their 9th overall pick, 10th overall pick.
Yeah, something like that.
And right, he got picked before Mac Jones. But the thing is, you move a guy like that, you show him that you didn't have any investment in him. I don't know. And Justin Fields just rushed for over 1,000 yards. I'm kind of a fan because I think that team sucks so bad that at least watching him run cool touchdowns made the Bears bearable this season to watch.
Yeah, that's why. What's his name? Chase Claypool, right? Chase Claypool got traded to the Bears.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah,
he did. That's not the answer, but yeah, no.
But I immediately said after he got traded, I went, his career is now over.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I didn't even follow him to see what he ended up with, because
probably nothing, right? I mean, you didn't hear about him.
Well, because Justin Fields doesn't pass; he just runs, but
which works to a point. But I mean.
Well, it works to get you 3 and 13, but the thing is, they don't have anybody. So it's like, I don't know. It's a bad team. It's a really bad team. Probably more bad than people give it credit for, because the Bears aura and the Bears fandom and all that stuff, where somehow the Bears get off the hook for being bad, because they're, to me, generationally bad at this point.
Well, they got off the hook because the first game of the season, they beat the Niners in the rain.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Pretty much their only win this year was the 49ers.
Yeah, well, I think they beat another tough team too. No, I think they. Never mind. Either way, they beat the Niners. Enough said, right? And then week 1 is the most overanalyzed week in the history of any kind of sport known to man. I mean, look at the Cowboys week 1. Which I guess they didn't finish in fantasy season, but the week 1 they lose to the Bucs 19-3. Dak looks like he's a broken man and breaks his hand, and everyone, Stephen A. Smith included, we're done. The season's over. We didn't do the right things in the offseason. Next thing you know, we have Cooper Rush come out. We end up being 6-1, and fighting for the 1 seed if we didn't have the Eagles in our division. the first week gets overanalyzed. Everybody goes nuts. I mean, think about fantasy. Guys are dropping people and using their waiver wire after 1 week of football.
Exactly.
So that probably hurt the Bears in a sense because people thought they were good, and they're just not.
They're not. Yeah, they can't be, right. And I feel like what they need, like, as much as I hate to say
it, they did a trade. That trade you talked about could maybe do it, because then you get Jalen Carter, you get Stroud or Bryce Young, and you have that's a hell of a fucking, that'd be the best draft of all time, because you just literally both sides of the ball with two top end scouts that are both 95 plus rated scouts, or potential ranking coming in, and there can't miss guys up there at the top. I think Stroud's a can't miss guy. I think Bryce Young could maybe miss, but he could still be like a Justin Fields, which is like a good miss if he misses. And then Jalen Carter, to me, I tell you, you know how I feel about Jalen Carter. That guy he's not normal. He's not normal. He's closer to a dump truck than he is a human. So that could, right there, that's how they could instantly maybe do it. But teams like the Bears probably won't do it.
Yeah.
They probably won't.
Probably not. And I mean, what you also have to consider is cap space. But if I recall correctly, the team with the best cap room right now is the Bears.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So I guess
let's see.
I guess what would be most confusing to me is them not making a ton of moves. They have nothing but space.
Who's the coach over there? I can't even think. Did they not hire one yet? Or wow. Know. See, there's the Bears in a nutshell for you. I swear I know every coach in the NFL. I can't even think if they hired one or not.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Matt Eberflus.
Oh, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Solid.
Oh, they named him the coach last year, January 27th. Okay, no, that was about around the end of the season. So they hired him around the end of the season. Yeah, I guess I did miss that. I missed Matt Eberflus getting hired because there were so many other names other than Matt Eberflus that I guess I don't know. It's crazy. It slipped through the cracks.
Well, because you don't even think about it. But I mean, then again, to give credit where credit's due, right? Take a team, and gosh, I hate that I'm doing this. Take a team like the Lions, right? Horrid year. Not this last year, the year before.
Yeah, and then looked like a horrid year coming into this year. They were 1-7, 1-6, or whatever.
Yeah, and you could see everyone going, "Yup, this is the worst team in the NFL. Yup, they're just who they were last year."
Lions.
And then
Lions.
Something about that coach, he gets it done. He's got the right idea. Like, he's just everything the Lions have right now, they need to capitalize before it's too late. And they got a pretty young team. Jared Goff is essentially Matt Stafford. They're almost the exact same human being.
I don't, yeah. And that's not a bad comparison. You don't know what Jared Goff is going to get each season. You don't know what Jared Goff is going to get each game. By God, he might go off for 6 touchdowns and 500 yards against Pat Mahomes and beat him in his rookie year. But, it's like, I feel for the guy, too. He gets traded from his Super Rams after I shouldn't say barely losing the Super Bowl because it was a defensive game that, was dominated. But he wins his Super Bowl with that team, gets let go, gets replaced, another dude comes in. That's like, it's like getting a divorce and then, like, some famous rapper coming in and, like, taking a girl, because he had to watch that. I feel like that may have actually played a part in motivating him this season, because last year he looked horrible. Mm-hmm. And then Stafford wins the Super Bowl, and this season, even in their losses early in the year, that's kind of the thing that people don't realize is the Lions were in every single game. I think maybe 1 or 2 games that they were. They even almost beat the Bills. They took them to the wire.
Which is how they did it all year, the year before. They couldn't close out games. That was their biggest problem. And then this year,
he made one too many errors down the stretch, which happens with teams that aren't winning a lot. Because that's the difference. Goff didn't do this last year. Goff didn't have those silly turnovers as much, or those those fumbles and things like that would have killed him. And you're 100% right, by the way, because ESPN came out and they power ranked him number 3 in the NFC next season. The freaking Lions. It goes Niners number 2, Eagles number 1, Lions number 3, Cowboys number 4. So that's how much promise they have. And I agree with you. They have so much talent there, but they'll have to find a way to either win or find a way to sign as many as they can because they won't be able to keep all those guys. They can't. They can't. Dylan's fantasy team was one team and somehow won the championship. It was all Lions. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. That is.
And they're all rookies.
Crazy.
If you're 19 or if you're not 19, but if you're saying you're an NFL player right now and on that team like I'm on, you're an old guy. Jared Goff's a grandpa.
Yeah. Comparatively. I mean, you think of everyone getting there when Matt Stafford's there. You're like, oh my god, it's night and day. That's kind of why I'm getting flustered with the Buccaneers lately because I'm like, we were young.
It doesn't look good, bro. But you know what? Like, hey, I'd rather be the darkness before the dawn, though, man. Because you could have the Cowboys who just put Band-Aids on things for years, and get Drew Bledsoe washed up after Tom Brady, and get Drew Henson after that, and then get you'd rather actually burn out and find a way to rebuild. I feel that gives you a better chance to win a Super Bowl than it does to sit in mediocrity. Because somehow the Bucs have snuck off 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years as a sub-franchise team. Yeah, about that, right? 02 and what? That was 2021, right?
21, yeah. So, 20 years.
So, 19, 20 years, and that's 2 Super Bowls. The Cowboys have been to 4 divisional playoff games since 1995. That's the furthest they've made it since 1995. And it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So I'd take those Super Bowls and the epic die that the Bucs are known for after the championship. This one was just a slower burn because Tom Brady, held them together. But they were bad this year. Let's be real. Tom Brady had to pull off some heroics to get them to that point. Like they could have been 4. They could have won 4 games this year if it wasn't for Tom having like 3 or 4, 2-minute, 13-point comebacks. There's a bad team.
The season really comes to a peak when you remember Mike Evans batting the ball off of his knee in that mid run, like that mid 50-yard run against the Panthers.
Oh yeah, the Panthers. That's right.
Yeah. He catches that ball.
He had a couple of those this year. That was just the worst one. That was the worst because he was wide open by himself, and he took a soccer knee at it. But he had a lot of drop balls this year. I tried to dev his back, but he had a lot of missed routes. He showed a lot of immaturity this year. You could tell Tom was just kind of fed up with it.
Yeah, he had a lot of missed routes. He had a lot of drop balls. He had a lot of balls that he very easily could have had as a jump ball or like a dive ball. He didn't even know. He wouldn't. And that's why I'm like Chris Godwin. I'm like, old paper knees. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Mike Evans, the human pit bull. And it's like,
when he's good, he's good. When he's good, he's good. But and you saw when he pushed that guy for Tom Brady. That even seems kind of odd now. I'm just thinking that while we're talking about it is when he got suspended that one game earlier in the season because he threw the guy. That's almost an it's like an overzealous attempt to be like, I got your back, bro. Because it was unnecessary, and now he just lost his receiver for a game when he already didn't have any receivers. Good job, Mike.
And that was the thing. Why did you call out Tom Brady? Why did you go, oh, it was my quarterback? No. In the video, if you watch it back, Lattimore is pushing Fournette. Like Lattimore's jocking up Fournette. Why do you have to go in there and punch his helmet and go, he was talking bad to my quarterback? And it's like, cool, Mike Evans, if you want to do something about it, go on a 65-yard bomb, catch it, and get the touchdown. It's like, that's how you make a cornerback feel bad about himself, not punch him in the face and then almost risk the game.
Right.
But
a lot of athletes don't think like that these days because the money aspect takes their mind out of that. I wish I could have just watched one football game in 1960 with leather helmets, no paychecks, and just raw getting it. No, just football, And I still love football today, but you definitely see that guys like that. They don't make those conscious decisions because they're not truly focused, like a Tom Brady is, for instance, with that lion mentality and the savage mentality. They can say they are, but they're caught up in all the lights and all the other stuff. And even with Twitter and social media, I mean, can you imagine a guy in the 1960s? He would have been rolling in his grave if he would have saw what the athlete had become in 2023. But I think that's what causes them essentially not to make those plays and do those things. Like James Bradbury holding the guy in the Chiefs thing. He's just nonchalant in the locker room. Everyone's like, "You said he held him." I'm like, "Yeah, that's even kind of weird." Yeah, I got him. That was the Super Bowl, man. Like, get your hands off him. Think about that. Like, think about the fact that if you hold this guy, no matter what happens, they're going to get first down because defensive holding's an automatic first down. It's like, "Oh, I got him." And everyone's like, "See, he admitted it." I'm like, "Yeah, that's weird."
I mean, the weirder part, even still to that, is him admitting it, and yes, so nonchalantly just admitting he did it. But the fact that he didn't like try to defend himself. He didn't try to, he didn't try to defend himself. He didn't try to say, I didn't do it.
I would say
like,
nothing.
I can't believe that got called on me.
Right, I would be so angry you wouldn't find me for an interview. I guess that's the difference of the athlete today. It's like I just held a dude's shirt and just cost all 53 of these guys that worked this hard to get here, and my quarterback just went for 400 all-purpose yards. And yeah, I just watched that video, bro. He was not protecting Tom Brady at all. I'm sorry, I had that going on in the background because you said that you watched it afterward, and I never actually did, and I just watched it. Mike Evans has nothing to do with Tom Brady. He just starts going West Coast gangster like that. He's out of control. He's out of control.
I love it.
He's out of control. He just goes sprinting from the sideline. He's like targeting Lattimore. Like
so in that same vein, do you think Dwayne Johnson will save the XFL?
Of course not. He annoys me right now. I saw him at practice, and he's walking up to a guy. The lineman's sitting there like done with a 2-a-day, and Rock comes up to him. "Hey man, you ready for some football?" He's like, "Oh yeah, as long as I get some rest tonight." He's like, "Wrong answer. Try again." And the guy's like, "Ready for some football?" I'm like, "Right, they're actually playing football." Like, I know that's easy to sit outside and act like you're a football player, but you don't play football, man. Like, he played in Miami, to give him some credit, but he didn't play. He never got in. But
yeah, I mean, it's like
pipe for him.
It's like Terry Crews, right? It's like when Terry Crews talks about, he got drafted by the 49ers. He goes in to work out for him, and the coach is screaming at him, and Terry Crews goes, I don't want to be yelled at. And I'm like, all right. I mean, fair enough. More power to you. But you did sign up to play football. You know this.
Well, I mean, think about how many people signed up for the military and then got there and were in absolute shock. And if they could have walked away like Terry Crews, it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, what did I sign up for?
But
so,
I do think it's funny because people are trying to talk about the XFL, and I guess I'll do the same because I don't necessarily like The Rock, but I will say, if anyone was going to accomplish the impossible of making the XFL relevant,
John Stamos. No,
John Stamos. Yeah, if anyone was going to do it, it's The Rock, the most expensive actor in Hollywood right now. That would be the guy.
That's no lie, too, man. I'll look that up recently. That dude he's making crazy money. You got to pay him $50 million minimum just to get your movie. Period. So yeah, he doesn't have a lot of power. He's got a lot of money. And those are two things you need. But the thing is he's not the owner of the league. He is. I want to say he owns it with a group, right? Or there's like a couple owners, and he's just obviously
probably.
the face.
Yeah, I mean, there probably is Schmiegeldoo and Schmidldorf, but like at the same time, who are you gonna have as the face of your company? At the end of the day, if you have Dwayne Johnson on payroll, and you can go, well, I'm really feeling like Steve Schmidt should be the guy as the face. That man's fired.
Oh, no doubt. Because here's his partners. I just looked it up. It's weird, actually. I don't even know what to think anymore. Owners now are not even people. The first owner is Alpha Aquario LLC. The second owner is Redbird Capital Partners. The third owner is Dwayne Johnson, and the third owner is Danny Garcia. Or the fourth. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what that is. What I just read. I guess Alpha Aquario LLC. Yeah, okay, it's separated. There's 4 partners: Alpha Aquario LLC, Redbird Capital Partners, Dwayne Johnson, and Danny Garcia. So clearly they're just investment groups that picked Dwayne Johnson, and then we'll find out who Danny Garcia is. So.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson's probably getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing I think I'm most, I don't know. I think it's so strange that XFL is even still a thing. And
Dude,
now,
it's like time repeats itself, bro. I was
yeah.
a sophomore in high school, and that thing failed out. They're like, dude, no fair catches. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to help people watch half-speed football.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. I like women's basketball to a certain extent, like especially big games, and the Aces just won out here. But I can't go watch a regular season women's basketball game and call me sexist. I don't care. But like, I'm used to a different speed. I played and I played the game, and a lot of fans can say what they want. But the thing is, once you get used to an NFL speed, you can't just ask a fan like, "Hey man, it's off season. Come watch these guys not play as good for money." Like, no thanks. You know, if they made the tickets super cheap. But that's the thing. I'm looking it up right now, and you got the Vegas Vipers versus the Arlington Renegades, and I guess the game it happened already, but they don't have the stats on here. Or is that preseason? I don't know. That was supposed to be February 18th at 3 p.m. and it has no score. The website's pretty. Our website looks better than the XFL's website. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding.
That's. I mean, that's great for us, right?
It's great for us. They have 8 teams. They just round robin. That's two divisions of football. They just round robin playing the same people. It's better than the 4 though that they had when they came out. You know, when I was a kid.
I mean, but
it didn't last.
That's kind of the thing, right? Is I look at it though, and I tried watching some of it. I tried watching some of the XFL last week.
This year's?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried watching some of it last week. That's why I was asking you. I think it was like the other day. I was trying to talk to you about DiNucci, and
yeah, Ben DiNucci.
It's ridiculous because the XFL was always talked about as, oh, we're gonna be wrestling, right? It's gonna be all out war on the field, right? It's gonna be tougher. They're going to be hitting harder.
Sure.
I felt, and maybe this is mean, especially to Josh Gordon.
Is he in the league?
He is.
That's the best player in the whole league. That's the best player in the whole league.
Best player in the whole league is Flash Gordon.
I didn't know that, but that's it. And still, he's probably on a team full of schlubs. But yeah, sorry, carry on. That's crazy. Good for him.
But that's what I mean is, the XFL looks like 4 competing paper companies got all of their best football players together and are meeting on the field in pads.
Well, right, because the Vegas thing's trying to market these Vipers. And it's funny because Jeffrey repeated a lot of the ads, and I get it. He's trying to get excited, but it's like I kind of broke him down a bit. He kind of saw what I was saying. He's like, dude, we should go to Vipers game. I was like, why? He's like, they have Martavis Bryant. I was like, dude, Martavis Bryant was good for like 3 years, 10 years ago. Give me something else at least. Give me that Martavis Bryant's playing the 2 spot. He's like, but Rod Woodson's the coach. And I'm like, yeah, Hall of Fame safety. Rod Woodson's the coach, not the safety. And he's too old anyway. I don't even know if Rod Woodson's coach.
It's Martavis Bryant, man.
Hey. Be like, oh man, John Morant's coach of the Nets. I don't know if he can coach yet. Maybe he can, but I don't know.
That's kind of like watching Steve Nash, right?
Well, he's finally becoming a decent coach after decades of failure.
Didn't he get fired like recently?
Dude, he can't win. He can't have a winning record. Anyway, I think he coached the Nets. He has Kevin Durant. Yeah. He's the guy who screwed up Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. That team never even they played 14 games together. It was one of the most disappointing things ever. And Steve Nash was just flawless on the court. I mean, the game came natural to him. Coaching and playing is two different things. Rod Woodson could be great, but I'm not going to go in being like, dude, they have Rod Woodson as a coach. Okay. To me, that's a starter coach with a Martavis Bryant, and I'm buying a ticket to this? Get out of here, man. I'll save it for the next season's football games.
Which is funny because the reason you would even do it in the first place, right? The only reason you do it is because why not, right? I mean, there's no other reason, especially now that Vegas has its own football team.
Dude, we have so many teams now. All of a sudden, we have a freaking whatchamacallit team. You used to play in gym with little nets and the sticks. Lacrosse. We have a lacrosse team that they're selling tickets. Yes. The same Viper. It's something crazy. But yeah, they're marketing that. It's like 30 bucks a ticket. And I'm like, you can pay to watch lacrosse. But yeah. It's good for the market. And you're right. Why not? I guess. But there's better forms of entertainment than putting together a prestigious like arena team with Martavis Bryant or a lacrosse. Lacrosse professional team. Like, and same thing, they got some celebrity coach. They're like, oh, this guy's coaching him. Okay, great. I still think the ticket should be $10, like a high school football game back in the day. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You'd think. I mean, that's
kind of. Would you pay to go see a game if it was $30, $40 to see the Vipers?
Let me answer that with a different answer. I'm not much of a drinker.
No, you don't have to drink. I mean, yeah, you pretty much do. Yeah, especially the Vipers game. Yeah, there's going to be heavy drinking going on at that mother effort, dude. I promise you that. There's going to be a lot of drinking.
That's my answer to that question. I'm not much of a drinker. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You can buy some certain classy stadiums out there, but definitely not the Vipers XFL or any XFL team for that, because some guy's going to lean over and be like, I didn't even know who Martavis Bryant was. They just said it at work. I'm sorry, honey. He said, this is horrible. He's like, don't ever take me to this again. It's like, Dwight didn't make it last time. But hey, maybe I eat my words. But if it didn't work last time, and last time was the same thing with Vince McMahon, and like, it's the same thing. It was owned by wrestlers. It was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah, like you said, we're gonna wrestle. That's not football. He Hate Me actually went on to be a kick returner for Rod Smart, I think was his name. Yeah, mm-hmm. He went on to be a kick returner for the Panthers. He's the only one who ever even saw a field, and that dude was like, looked like Marshall Faulk in the XFL. Like, it wasn't fair. He was the MVP of the one season, and he goes to the NFL, and he gets blasted on kick returns. Everyone's like, whoa, how's He Hate Me not good in the NFL? Because it's the NFL. Guys do this for a living for millions of dollars and have excellent bodies. It's like, we're going to hit harder. No, you're not. These NFL guys who break their ankles just by like accidentally hitting you with their shoulders. They're animals.
You broke someone's ankle with by hitting them in the shoulder. That is the most accurate. It's the most accurate football thing you could ever say. It's like, that's
you watch these hits up here, you're like, that wasn't that hard. You're like, sure, until you know that's a 320-pound man did a 4.240. Like, I mean, Damar Hamlin's a good example. That didn't look like that hard of a hit. He almost died. You know, I was like, I say that in a serious way. Like, Tua's hits didn't seem that bad. These fingers are crumbling on the ground because they got to figure something out. But these guys hit so hard that they have to find a way to prevent it. And the XFL's promoting, hey, we're going to kill each other. But that's a weird message. That's going cross leagues there. It's like,
well, see that, and
we're gonna hurt you.
That's where I'm kind of like, if you wanted, then do it longest yard style, right? Have people getting like power bombed on the.
Now we're talking.
Do it now NFL blitz style. Do it to a comedic point.
Yep.
But if you're not gonna go all out,
stop in a fight for hockey. Like, let them fight.
Yeah,
let them have like a 2-minute cage match on the field. Like, you know, let them have it. Let them get it. It's wrestling at the end of the day.
Which that's what disappoints me the most is if you don't do that, then all you have is, I mean this most earnestly as I can say it, you just have worse arena football.
Right.
And arena football
guys like play for a living, you know?
Yeah.
these guys are just coming out of the wrestling league, and it's like, I mean, I don't even know if that's true. I'm looking up their roster actually right now, so I don't say too much stuff, but yeah, I mean, their quarterback is Brett Hundley, which I have a heart for. He played at UCLA. I like him a lot, but same thing. He wasn't an NFL quarterback. Past that, you got John Lovett at running back, Bryant Burt, Rod Smith, DeAndre Torrey, Geronimo Allison. Like Geronimo Allison was a Packers guy deep in their rotation, but same thing. He was like a fifth receiver like 10 years ago. So like this is just an old person's league, really. Like you said, they got together and said, "Let's start a league." Enough of us still want to play, and we're all the same age, and we're all slightly out of shape.
Yeah. And then there's Flash Gordon.
He's probably going to get suspended for smoking weed.
Yes.
Just throw it out there. There should be an over-under on that. You should be able to.
Over-under?
Yeah. Someone's a shoe. It's like John Bones Jones failing a drug test for a big fight. Like, it's going to happen.
I mean, but Flash Gordon really is, Josh Gordon is just that example, the same example of, I have this one friend who was really good at football. And right. So you take him out to play flag football, and no one can catch him. He's the fastest guy on the field. He looks amazing. Of course he does.
Flash Gordon had flashes of being great, and that's the thing. It's like, just like John Bones Jones, he was leading reception categories like two different times halfway through the season when he got popped for weed. He's one of the greatest receivers that never was, but it's hilarious because now we're 10 years later, and people are still getting excited about Josh Gordon. I feel like all they're going to do is be let down. It's going to be like, oh, man, probably should. You got a DUI. You got 2 DUIs or something. Like, we probably shouldn't have. It's like, well, yeah, of course. There's a reason he's playing in the XFL now and also never played in the NFL. But I hope the best for him. He's got tons of talent, and maybe they'll let him smoke weed. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
It's the XFL.
Yeah.
Having smoking a blunt on the Jumbotron coming out to a game, you know? Why not?
I mean, but
then it would work.
That's the thing. That would be interesting. If you here's what the NFL doesn't have. Okay, this is what, and I'm gonna go on a tangent. This isn't even a. I'm looking over at my things I wrote down to talk about, and I'm like, yeah, we're on the 3rd thing, and I'm like, oh, this is great. But this is something.
Any of mine, but that's fine.
we will. But
no, it's good. It's good.
I need to talk about this. Because it upsets me. Like, what was it? It was like a few months back, right? Like 2 or 3 months ago. I went to house sit for the in-laws, and I go there to, just watch the house, take care of it. It's out in the middle of nowhere. I don't have a car. All I do is I sit in the house and do whatever, cook my food, do my work, and whatever. And so what happens, right? I get bored. I start thinking of things, and I go, you know what? I'm going to watch wrestling. And so I watched a little bit of I watched a little bit of old school wrestling, and
what era?
Like early Hulk Hogan, like real American Hulk Hogan.
I thought it was real.
And Macho Man. Well, of course you thought it was real because it was so played up. It was so well acted. And then you get to the Bill Goldberg
era. I just got chills.
The Goldberg era, him coming out to Who's Next, and
the fireworks hitting off his body.
Well, that was the thing. Was I showed a buddy of mine for the first time. I was like, I want you to watch this, and then I want to talk to you about this. And this is the point I'm getting to is, you watch Bill Goldberg go out to his theme song, right? His theme song's playing. Right. He comes out. The fireworks are hitting him clearly right in the ear. And he's like...
There had to be some, non-flammable fireworks, by the way, because he was taking them.
You can see he's reaching at his ear, and he's, kind of moving his mouth. You could tell, oh, he just messed up his ear. For sure he messed up his ear. But he has to keep going. He has to act.
Yeah, he would scream and wiggle his head. Ah! He's probably just trying to survive. That's probably a contract with Vince McMahon or something. You want to be famous? Here.
And so this anime protagonist or antagonist comes out and just lays people flat. All he did, he would spear them to the ground, then he would pin them with the jackhammer, and that was it. That was it.
Oh yeah, forgot about the jackhammer. He had the two most basic moves: a takedown and a takedown, and everyone went bananas because he marketed it great.
And so you take this character, and I watched it, and I thought of it like watching an anime. Like for me, like watching like Dragon Ball, or watching like any of the shows I watch, like Rising Shield Hero, or any of those other shows, and I'm watching this anime character in real life. He comes out, he spears me, he's larger than life. He doesn't exist. This human isn't possible. But he's out here, and he's coming out to his intro music, and he has his intro music almost the entire time. His intro music stops for 30 seconds until he pins someone to 3, and then his music starts again. And so, that is what the XFL is missing.
Right.
Make Josh Gordon come out to Flash Gordon's theme song.
Right.
And you do some 100%. Ridiculous stunt with him where someone fires a football out of a cannon for like 80 yards, and Gordon just catches it nonchalant. You're like, that would fire me up. I'd be like, oh man, this is cool. Make it an actual show. It'll be exciting. Make it just football and a bunch of schlubs in their 30s playing football. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to survive, is what I should say. I'm sure plenty of people are getting
because
drunk.
They're probably not going to do. They're not going to do what you're saying they need to do. They're entertainment business, and that's what they're good at. And the problem is, just like last time, and what you're hearing now, is we're going to hit harder. We're going to try to compete with the NFL. That seems to be yet again their strategy, which is not going to work.
Yeah, that's not what you do. That's not what you do, and that's why I'm saying the only person that could save it is The Rock, because The Rock is such a highly paid Hollywood actor, right?
But yet again, he's not a player, just like Rod Woodson and all these. It's like it's tough
he should be able.
Do so much.
He should be able to lead them in that direction, right? He should be the one who can basically say, "Hey guys, here's what we need to do," and just put it all together. Say, let's do this, because I guarantee this will be cool. The only problem is, I guess I have to take a step back on that, because The Rock, in and of himself, gets people in seats because of his name. I don't know.
Right, so throw some pads on, Mongoloid. If you're such a good football player, throw some pads on, Mr. Freak Show. Like that dude looks like Goliath from the ancient Bible times. Like, throw him on then.
But I guarantee
there's how it's marketable.
I guarantee
pads on that league word.
I guarantee if Dwayne Johnson took a 20-mile-per-hour Nick Bosa to the back, he would be dust.
I mean, I die that because I think he's just puffy muscled. That's why he hangs out with Kevin Hart all the time. I think it makes him feel better.
It's like I hate to hate on someone who does take care of their body, right? Who does take care of themselves.
I'm not hating on that. Of course, he's great with that. But
yeah, it's great to be a health fanatic, and that's awesome. That's great. Do not ever in your life say we are gonna hit as hard as the NFL. You don't even know how hard that is. Right.
No, I agree.
Let the Vipers line up against. Let them line up against the Chiefs and have what's his name, Jones. That's their stud lineman?
Chris Jones, number 95.
Have Chris Jones rush the line against Danucci.
Yeah, that's not a puppy muscle actor. That's an animal.
But
I can pick up your truck and move it home for you if it runs out of gas. So.
But yeah, let me see the running back take a DDT. Let me see a wide receiver catch a ball and then somehow
split in half at the abs.
No, I mean let me see a receiver bend down and chuck a cornerback over his shoulders or something, right? Let me see some crazy showmanship. Because here's the thing, I don't want to watch a football game that isn't even football, and both teams scored under 20 points.
Well, that'll be the big factor that we'll see. The other thing, too, is they're convoluting the market because we're talking about the XFL because we're on the West Coast market, but let's not forget the USFL kicks off April 15th in the Midwest. You got Philadelphia, Memphis, New Jersey, Birmingham, Michigan, Houston, Pittsburgh, and New Orleans in a whole other league.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I mean.
And if you look at the USFL,
definitely not going to work.
but here's where I give credit to the USFL. If you look at the people that are going to the USFL, it is not studs, but you would call it.
They're younger guys.
It's the leftovers from college.
Yeah. 100%. I'm saying that them existing is going to hurt the XFL chances.
Oh,
USFL looks like they might actually work.
Yeah,
might actually work.
If USFL ends up being exactly what we think it is, which is just college level play, but in the summer, the XFL's done. It will end.
USFL's got a good idea. What they're doing is these are the guys who barely didn't make it. Hey, look how they're playing now.
Yeah.
For anything, it's like last chance you thing where they could be scouting a guy, where you have a guy or two. Because like I said, Bo Scarborough or some of those guys that were right on that bubble, didn't get drafted, but they still think they got it. And if anything, how many times have we seen? I mean, Tom Brady, thank God he got drafted, right? Or Brock Purdy, for God's sakes, right? Because
look at Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner doesn't get drafted, plays football for CBS, and then eventually gets picked up. But it's like if Kurt, but you go if he plays in the USFL, there's a chance that any NFL team at that point, not just the Rams, look at him and go, well, shit, this he's a natural athlete. This guy's got exactly what we're looking for.
Right. How many times does it have to happen for people to finally understand that? Because that's the thing, too, is by having that, you generate. Right. Brock Purdy. I mean, these guys that barely got in, even back in the day, they used to have 11 rounds or something, which afforded teams more of an opportunity to bring the guys into camp and cut. Now we've brought it down to 7. So they made it tougher even for the guys, coming out of nowhere. But yet we've seen so many guys come out of nowhere. There were these crazy exceptional talents. It's almost like the norm now. That to me, that league makes sense because there's got to be guys that don't get picked. We've seen it happen. We've seen guys come out of nowhere, like you said, Kurt Warner in itself, let alone anybody after that. And the guy goes on from bagging groceries to Super Bowl MVP. The only to this day, he's the only person to come in the rookie year, albeit he was 40, and win the Super Bowl MVP.
Patrick Mahomes wasn't a first-round pick, was he?
No, he was, but
okay. I thought he was still early second.
That's Dak. Well, Dak Prescott. Yeah, that was Dak Prescott, early second round.
Okay.
Yeah, but Mahomes still went behind people that he shouldn't have gone behind, and I can't remember exactly. I want to say Josh Rosen was in that draft. He still went 12th or something.
Trubisky went before him.
Right. Yeah. It's Pat Mahomes, still at the end of the day, so that is a big deal because Michael Jordan went 3rd and everybody went nuts, right? It's like, how could you draft 2 people before him? Because he's that great, and Mahomes is that great. So you really did miss on that one because how did you not see that? I saw him coming out of college. I'm like, why did you? What? Huh? And Lamar Jackson, and both those guys. Lamar Jackson slept on over Baker Mayfield.
Which is funny because you watch those old sportscasters and you watch their cast from years ago, and you see them talk about it, and they just talk about how they talk about how who's going to be the best quarterback coming out of college: Deshaun Watson, Mitch Trubisky, or Patrick Mahomes. And almost all the time, only one person, from what I've went back and seen, actually came forward and said Patrick Mahomes could be something, right?
Who?
Skip Bayless.
That's the first time that man's been right in his entire life. He probably has a plaque in his home for that.
And that's the thing, because everyone goes, I don't know. I think Deshaun Watson's the guy. He seems great. He seems like the guy for sure. When I look at Deshaun Watson, the human being, next to Patrick Mahomes, I have a hard time mentally, I have a hard time looking at those two men and going, they're the same age.
Oh yeah.
Deshaun Watson looks like
definitely.
he's in his 40s.
But also acts like a 5-year-old. So I don't know. I feel like there's something to that. Like your maturity has to meet your middle ground, or one thing happens because that dude's literally old man grandpa skin in a baby's body. I mean, that guy's about as dumb as it gets.
And Patrick Mahomes, God bless the guy, but like, jeez, I feel bad for him at the same time as being like, man, what a successful career this guy's gonna have. He's already a Hall of Famer, right? Like I think if his career ended tomorrow, he's a Hall of Famer. Because he put up.
That's how crazy it is.
Yeah, he put up the accolades already, which is great for him.
He's got 2 Super Bowl MVPs, two MVPs. He's got 2 Super Bowl wins. He's got 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He's got, and he's been to the conference championship every year of his 5-year career. That's crazy. He's been in the conference championship every year.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? Here's the part where you got to pay more attention. Start realizing, I feel bad for him because, Jesus, heaven forbid that poor man have a successful career, and the woman he loves is such an unbearable person in almost every single way. And his brother is unbearable. And it's like, I feel bad for him.
Dude, the fact that he can still play quarterback in general, like at all, like in a flag game, with his brother doing those TikTok dances. I don't know why he's the best brother ever, because he just smiles. It's not like he just like. I would slap him in the head. So I'd be like, dude, stop.
I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine you as a Super Bowl winning quarterback and me having your wife. I have your wife filming me for TikTok so that when you come by and shake my hand, I look at the camera and I'm like, oh yeah.
And hey, he's doing it because obviously people are eating up the content. That's what makes that's what makes our society even worse. Because obviously, if he got 0 views, he'd probably stop the little chicken dances. But the kid's got millions of views on there, so because who am I to judge? I guess, but yeah,
kids eat it up. Kids eat it up. I mean, the 17-year-old at home.
What is there to eat up about what Jackson Mahomes does? Watch a video and just tell me you don't cringe the whole time that you watch it.
Well, yes, as a 30-year-old man, yes. I look at what Jackson Mahomes does, and I go, that's gross. But so the kids liking that
and thinking that's cool is scary. Like that's what they're into, is Jackson Mahomes TikTok dances? Golly. I wouldn't, as a kid, I wouldn't have been like, dude, that's really cool.
Now, hold on. Okay. Hold on. Before the tea kettle goes all black, remember, think of you at the age of 13, 14, right? If you showed someone who was 30 salad fingers, they might
I showed it to my teacher. I showed it to my sociology teacher. She let me play it for the class, but I don't know. I think I just convinced her. But yeah, I hear you. Salad fingers is a little creepy, really. Our whole childhood's creepy. Ren and Stimpy, all that Washington back. Our
Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
All Real Monsters, Cow and Chicken. It was a different era.
I forgave myself after watching Ren and Stimpy as a full-blown adult. I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm the way I am. Like. It's crazy.
Powdered toast, man.
Yeah, sex jokes every 2 seconds, scream and lose their tempers, and then just enough of a good intro song that the parents think it's a great show and they leave the room. Happy, happy, joy, joy. And then halfway through the song, it's like,
that's why
in their heads. It's like, oh my god.
That's why to me, I'm kind of in that like realm of looking at things nowadays, like my girls watch Gabby Dollhouse, or they watch Polly Pocket, or they watch whatever kid shows are on, and I usually will watch them and like offhand just kind of look over and be like, okay, this show seems safe. So
Right, can you imagine though your kid's been on Ren and Stimpy and then like you sitting there for like a couple minutes and be like, oh my gosh, turn this off. Like I can't believe no parents did that in America. I can't believe I had Ren and Stimpy plush dolls like the moment that but that was every parent. Like that was actually like a popular show, and it's like, man, that's how little that they even supervised our TV. They were like, cool, it's TV, let them watch it. There's no possible way there could be anything bad on that. And luckily now parents are watching it because when I even had a little stint there and had a little girl in my life, dude, some of the cartoons that came on, whoa, I was like, what is this? But if you catch it, you can get ahead of it.
Well,
and nowadays I feel like the cartoons are better for kids.
You are right though.
They are.
Because there was a moment where me and Lanita were sitting out here, we're just kind of chatting, and Raylene comes out and she was watching a show and she does something and Lanita goes, where'd that come from? And she goes, oh, the Amazing World of Gumball. And so we have her watch it out in the main living room with us, and we're watching the show. I'm cracking up. I can't help it because
it's a good show. It's a good show.
The jokes are terrible. But I look over at Lanita, and she's looking at me, and she goes, "She's not allowed to watch this."
Right, that's Gumball. That was allowed. That was the line. But yeah, that was allowed.
And I was like,
but I feel you.
Ooh. It's like, oh, come on. But like,
it's a tough one. It's a tough line. They're playing with the line.
There's some stuff in there where you're just like, whoa. But I mean, that's
right. They pepper the Ren and Stimpy, if you will, in there. Like they, over the top. But we used to watch cartoons doing that, the entire episode with Powdered Toast Man. I think was like a pedophile or something. I don't really even know what to think anymore watching the shows. I'm like,
that was kind of the whole point of Powdered Toast.
Didn't even realize it. And it's like he comes inside, they're all scared to death, they hide, and he just creeps around and finds some powder, toaster powder. And I was like, what the heck? What am I watching? I'm scared right now. Like as an adult, I was like stressed watching it. I'm like, oh my god. I'm thinking about myself as a kid going, happy, joy, playing the video game. Like, but that's also why our generation is a little bit more brash and tough because we were different. We were right before the cell phone era and social media and all that stuff. So we were raised a little tougher. So I guess.
Guess, right? But that is funny.
Well, we got a couple things to talk about. If you don't mind me going on.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Change your face here.
Anything to stop Powdered Toast Man.
Yeah, we got to get off the Powdered Toast Man. But even though I do love the guy. But so we got UFOs going on, right? Or balloons and all that stuff.
Oh, sure.
Right. So I've digged in. I was like, well, what else is going on that like totally would slip through the cracks, right? So on February 6th, a dolphin skull was found in a man's luggage when he got his bag out of the carousel in Detroit. A young baby dolphin head was found in a piece of luggage last week, according to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The luggage was separated from its owner, and while re-entering the U.S., was then scanned through an X-ray at the Detroit Metro Airport, and a skull-like shape was detected. Agents in CBP and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service identified it as a dolphin's head upon further investigation. Basically, that's the story. I thought that was a pretty good one because when I was a kid, I feel like that would have for sure made the news. And then this one's a local one. February 13th, here in Las Vegas thieves steal the catalytic converter from the Wienermobile. And the Wienermobile, 27-foot hot dog-shaped vehicle, was actually stranded and had to be pushed up the road almost a mile because none of the mechanics that they stopped at along the way could fit the 27-foot wiener inside of the mechanic garage.
So this is a case.
Just as good as UFO.
This is a case of like UFOs, balloon shootings. Granted, I think round of applause is necessary for the F-22 finally getting its first takedown.
Yeah, hey,
Dude, hey,
bravo.
bravo, F-22.
Yeah,
But
they better because 6 countries just joined Russia, by the way. So that's we got to get our F-22 aim down pretty quick. So.
but the question the question that's got me kind of lucid, even as you were talking about the Wienermobile, what what makes you think like what I wonder what is popping through your head when you're like, this dolphin skull is gonna make it far, I believe. Was it like flesh? Do you know if it was like just the
No, straight
skull?
bone. The picture is
Just straight bone.
flat out, straight up. It's a dolphin skull. It's a fucking huge skull. And the crazy thing is, but the crazy thing is that he didn't have anything to do with it. Somebody planted a dolphin skull in his head. Like, what was the outcome they were looking for? Like, dude, check this, Joe, this prank, dude. Or they're like literally like, hey man, I can't get this thing across the border. I'm hoping I can catch up with this guy on the other side and get my dolphin skull back. Like, and who has a dolphin skull? Like, it's a wild story.
So,
like, there's so many questions I have.
So okay, so we're really crack shit territory now at this point. You're telling me that someone. So I'm gonna go full on. I'm gonna go full on Star Wars Episode 2 on you. So you're telling me someone hired a guy who hired a guy who probably hired another guy to buy a dolphin skull to plant a dolphin skull in someone's backpack.
Got it past customs.
Got
It only
it
got
past
found on the way
customs.
back. Yeah, it got found in America coming in, and he lost his bag on the way there. Later, they found out, so that made it kind of weird. It's like, oh, he said he didn't know where his bag was. Well, his bag had a dolphin head in it, so I think that he might be, suspicious at this point. But they just tell a story to like he had no clue where it came from, and they just returned the dolphin. And
How does that happen? What do you like? For, I don't even know. I don't. Is that like a? Is it a delicacy?
Like you said, no flesh or anything. The risk is insane for the reward of I don't know. Like I'm not sure what happened because let's see how this thing panned out. But I mean, it's a crazy head. I should almost say this to you. It's elephant head. It looks like an elephant. Really, it does because the dolphin's like nose and stuff. It's a giant skull. It's a giant skull.
I don't understand. I guess I'm thinking of like me personally. Like, you know what? Never mind. I was about to start saying some shit, and I think I'm absolutely wrong because I was about to look over at all my stuff, and I see my Yoshi lamp next to a Pikachu card with a Ken Griffey Jr. auto, an official Super Bowl 55 coin, and stacks of cards everywhere. And I'm like, what was he gonna do with that dolphin skull? Display it?
Well, that's the thing. He's saying he didn't know, and he had to have not known because his bag somehow got through customs. That's the other thing. This guy said he lost his bag, but it made it out of the country and to Detroit. And in the meantime, someone snuck a dolphin skull in there.
I mean, that's what that would mean, right? That would mean that he got past customs, and then the dolphin skull came in.
They found it in Detroit. And that's the thing that's crazy too is when you let me see if I see the one part that made me laugh. So yeah, this is the part that made me laugh that I probably should have even emphasized more. When the skull-like shape was detected in Detroit, it was they sent agents with the CBP and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. What the hell is going on? You started Border Patrol and the Fish and Wildlife Service, like because they needed to identify and make sure it was a dolphin skull. And upon further investigation, the Fish and Wildlife Service identified that it was a baby dolphin skull. It's a giant baby, huge. And then, in quotes, the possession of wildlife items, especially those protected animals, is prohibited. Border Patrol's custom area port director, Robert Larkin, says. So the Border Patrol guy speaking on behalf of the wildlife, even though the fish people are there. We take wildlife smuggling very seriously. Sure, you missed it at the border. And we work closely with our federal partners in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to protect wildlife and their habitats. So they don't no thing like, hey, what happened to the guy? Some fish and wildlife products are subject to restrictions, permits, and prohibitions. So they're like talking about the legalities, like, hey guys, no, you can't take these. And then it finishes up with, like, for instance, marine mammals, reptiles, fish, shellfish, mollusks, invertebrates in any part or product to include skins, tusks, bones, feathers, or eggs, the Border Patrol Customs said. End of story.
The guy with the backpack, did he at all resemble a 1990s Ace Ventura?
Dude, this thing couldn't have been a backpack. This thing would have had to be brought on by like a rucksack or something with the horns hanging out the top. Man, I gotta send it to you because I didn't even know dolphin heads looked like this. You think at first like, okay, dolphin skull, but it's an elephant skull. It's nuts.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand. I still am perplexed.
Let me get you the pig. You gotta see it. This is why we gotta be together in the future because like you would just be seeing this and you'd be like you'd go bananas with it.
I mean, this is the smuggling. This is the smuggling of Snowflake. It's like,
right.
I don't understand.
Nobody heard about it. Didn't even make the news. Baby skull dolphin snuck into the country, and I knew nothing about it. I had to go dig for this one. I had to find some ones like odd, weird stories that like fell through the cracks, and I'm like, yeah, this one was great. But I just sent it to you.
What the hell?
Right? I mean, the dolphin heads look like that. I like the baby dolphin head. I'm like, sure, it doesn't matter. It has horns. Like it's giant. It's huge. Like. Because if you didn't see the picture, you'd be like, oh, it was just a baby dolphin head.
Where did he have that?
That was found in his suitcase at customs. So he gets back to Detroit, right? I like that they don't even report anything that happens in the aftermath of this. And this article is written at 2:43 a.m. on February 6th. So, this is a late night. This guy's getting back, and he gets off the hook completely. They're like, he said he had no clue where his bag. Let me see how they report it. They say the luggage had been separated from its owner on an international flight. That's like code red. Like the second your bag's missing on an international flight, you should probably be like, hey, I'm going to alert somebody because my bag's missing on an international flight. He's going to country, and he's got no plan. And that's when he's re-entering the U.S. He's already scanned through the x-ray at Detroit Metro on his way out. When he's going to get his bag at the baggage carousel is when they pick it up on an x-ray and they detect a skull-like shape. And that's when the agents from the CBP and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service are identified. So they made it through 8 scanners before it came to the baggage claim. They finally were like, hey, we should probably check that out.
So I have it on stream right now and just pulled up. I'm not sure what to think.
It's got to be like something like you said.
Right?
There's got to be some kind of like underground market for this because that's not. The risk is just not worth the reward. It's like, oh, dude, what if you get caught? Dude,
yeah, it's a dolphin. Like, why? Like, I look at that. Hold on, let me pull it back up. I look at this and I go, not even, right? Not even if I put that on a wall or something. If I tried to display that in any way or form or fashion, if I put that up, I'm shaking. If I put that up, people aren't going to come in and go, oh, that's a nice dolphin skull.
Maybe that's what the owner wants it for. He's sick of people coming over. And because
but you're not going to know.
I know, but somebody wanted it so bad that, like you said, 6 people were involved to get this thing almost all the way to the baggage carousel. So, clearly, this is important to somebody. And again, this is our problem with society. This is the same thing as Jackson Mahomes' Twitter dances. I don't get it, but somebody likes it, and they like it a lot.
I mean, I feel bad because I feel like Wienermobile's getting the absolute shaft on this one. But I mean,
I'm so glad though because I liked this one, but I figured I had to back it up with the Wienermobile because I was like, I don't know if anyone else is gonna find this.
I mean,
it's crazy, but it's a great article.
Wienermobile is funny for another reason though. I mean, Wienermobile is funny for the reason that they specifically state that they couldn't find a garage it fit in, which is just that's funny. That's funny. Imagining someone trying to push the Wienermobile into a garage, and then they have to push it out.
Oh, they actually never got to a garage. So and that's the best part because Can you imagine you're the Wienermobile driver? First off, you go back out to start that thing and it ain't starting, right? Because these thieves stole the catalytic converter. That's what's nuts. It's like they don't even know that at first. That these guys had come. That's a new age thing where these people like hop under. They can take the catalytic converters out and sell them. So this guy gets out. The Wienermobile is not starting, and he's stuck on. He's in Vegas, right? It's like, what's he gonna do? So they start trying to push it. Eventually, I think it was like a military or something. Oh, it was the Metro Police, and it found out that they were moving up and down the road. They eventually came and someone towed them because they couldn't find a garage. They kept pushing it for a mile. I guess it was like
That's hilarious.
Yes.
That's
and
hilarious.
So then they were taken to a truck stop, like a big truck place. They had to get towed out to one of those because it's a what, 27-foot wiener? Yeah, 27-foot wiener mobile. I mean, it's
dude can relate. Haha.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. That one to me doesn't stick out like Dolphin Skull.
Well, without the catalytic converter, the Wienermobile's engines, it just couldn't cut the mustard. You know, that's the joke. So it's on the article. That's the final thing on the article. I'm not kidding. This is the final thing. It goes down. It goes. The catalytic converter was stolen, according to Vegas, and this is the final on actual this is Huffington Post. The final paragraph is this: as a result, the Wienermobile's engine just couldn't cut the mustard, so it had to be towed to a local truck rental facility. To the shock of all the employees. End of story. Boom. That is our society today. It's like, I got questions.
Hey, I welcome it.
I do too. It's just like there's never any conclusion. Like we caught the guy who was severing baby head the dolphins off. It was like no. No, we identified it was a dolphin. We did our part. We caught it at the baggage claim. It's all good. Everyone can sleep now. Like,
but the Wienermobile. Second rate. We don't worry about Wienermobile.
Right. Yeah, poor Wienermobile. See there. Yeah, how do they go a mile and a half? That's like a physical feat. That probably took like 2 hours. He had to have friends. Clearly, this guy, the wiener guy, wasn't pushing the thing by himself. And if he was, by God, why didn't anybody help him? Not one person. You know, it's like this guy's got a baby dolphin and he's getting off the hook. Wienermobile's pretty clearly in need of help. You know, it's like, sorry, man, this garage can't fit you. Later. Like, what did you do? Push it back in neutral? I have so many questions. Like, oh, next garage, I guess. Like, in Vegas? Like, what streets is he on? This, like, I would have loved to see this. Like, I would have helped him. I'm like, hey, bro, let me call somebody because you have a 27-foot wiener. Like, why did this take this long?
Sorry about your 27-foot wiener, man.
Charlie just got the job or was like on the fritz. He's like, oh God, Tom's gonna kill me, man. This can't happen today, dude. He's like, I can't. Not again. Just call him, get a toter out the gate, knowing that 27-foot wiener probably can't fit in most places, you know? But obviously this guy was pretty stressed out because that's the part of the story that they leave out. They're like, yeah, he kept walking up the road. Mechanics couldn't fit him in garages. I'm like, that's what happened? Like, I feel like that can't be. It can't.
Meanwhile, he's on his phone and he's like, someone really stole a baby dolphin head?
It's an alert on his phone. That guy's in the know. He's like, hell yeah, no one's even going to talk about this shit.
No one's even talk about
UFOs and balloons, man. I'm even off the weird internet stories. This is great.
He's talking to the tow truck guy towing his Wienermobile. You believe this guy stole a baby dolphin head?
He's in the passenger seat. Dude, check out this idiot.
Check out this idiot.
Never seen anything so stupid in all your life. It's like, yeah, well, you Wienermobile push guy. Like, and also all of society for nobody just calling saying, hey, there's a giant wiener on Vegas Road. Can somebody please help this guy? Clearly, it's not working. This guy didn't even think like, hey man, maybe somebody did something with my engine. It's not even turning over. Like, it's catalytic converter. So it's like, he just like was like, oh, my wiener just died. It's like,
my wiener's dead.
It's mechanic. It's like, it's not a dead battery, dude. Like, your car probably didn't even like make a noise, and you thought, I'm just gonna push these things. So,
but
no other details. That's the thing. And this was reported by KLAS, local news station here in Vegas. So, yeah, that's
Important
the real
news.
thing happening is we're missing these stories because of the nonsense, and that's the real. To me, that's
I'm sorry, CJ who?
Right. NFL draft, nobody cares. UFO, okay. We get baby dolphins we gotta worry about.
Baby
That's why
dolphins.
it's happening to these poor dolphins. They're so far behind on the checklist. Poor baby dolphins aren't getting any love.
Poor baby dolphins.
Baby dolphins. Other than that, yeah, I mean, pretty much got the sports stuff. We got through all that, and then you said you had a mock draft thing, but we're kind of let's see where we're at. You know, kind of on time. If you wanted to do the draw, if you think that's a thing we should do, or we got 30 minutes, I could do, you know, like a pack here and there. And cause I got my video set up for a draw if we want to, or we could do that at a later time. I open either way.
I would say save that for a later time, but
or I can even do it after the podcast offline myself, and then you could put it out there because basically, you know, no secret, we're running some test runs, but this would be my first one anyway, and I can't look at that box without opening it for too much longer. That's just
that's fair.
Thing.
That's fair. I understand. That's how I feel because I know come time I'm gonna buy a few boxes of illusions. I'm probably gonna buy a case of Jersey Fusion, and I'm probably gonna buy some Pokemon cards.
The Jersey Fusions are nice, dude.
I like them.
I like them a lot. Those might be my favorite ones.
I like them. They're cheap.
That's the Cade Cunningham, right? The Cade Cunningham.
Oh no! That was Origins. You're thinking Origins.
Oh yeah, no, it's the Mobley. It's the Mobley.
Yeah, you're thinking Origins. No,
those are nice too.
But the Jersey Fusions are just cool because they're just you get a jersey patch in it and you got a chance for something really cool. But it's like
and some of them are good money, good value.
Yeah, but you go. That's what I want to do. I think that'd be cool. And I'll get that set up for me soon. Yeah, if you do want to open that, we can do that, and we'll do it offline, and I'll just record. You want to share your screen and everything, and
yeah, because I was wondering how we were going to fill 2 hours, but like, dude, we've done it pretty seamlessly. That's kind of fascinating because I do have leftover topics, and I didn't think I had enough.
Yeah,
I did not think I had enough. So it's kind of cool doing it, and a lot of the stuff I was looking up as far as just like as silly as it sounds, I've never done a podcast and I've always wanted to try it, but I just kind of looked up some of the pros and cons or the do's and don'ts. And luckily you're taking care of all the production side and all that. So I got to skip it because that seems to be the most important and complicated part is making sure that you're set up on the right things. And they said, like you said, basically the microphone, the hearing, the audio devices, all that's super important because even the best podcasts, if they don't have good audio and they don't have good production, like you're just not going to listen to it. So just those little things, but the do's and don'ts were just, Kyle also always said, just be yourself, just talk normal. Because if you're trying to act or you're trying to like, oh, I'm on a podcast now, this thing may never take off. And, you know, we may laugh at it later, but like at the end of the day, you'd rather just be authentic anyway and just talk about, you know, the topics you like and yeah, not have too much of a game plan. I like the outline theory because now I have content for next podcast. So.
Well, yeah, because 100%, a lot of what we're gonna get into eventually, because again, I feel like a lot of what we did tonight was on the same in the same realm. We were pretty much together the whole time. You know, I don't think there was any. There were a few topics that maybe one person knew a little bit more about than the other.
That's gonna happen.
But that's what we want,
same,
right?
Same.
That's what we kind of want, honestly. We want that to happen. We want to have that difference of stance and being able to kind of connect through it as well. But
when I had my little tablet open because they recommended just always having something close by that you can research in a pinch because I didn't want to say too many things about too many things. And honestly, the XFL Vegas team, at least they have a couple old turds, not just Martavis Bryant. I learned something tonight. So go check out those Vegas Vipers.
It is in fact a bunch of old dudes.
Yeah, and it will probably fail. Yeah.
Probably.
No one's signing Martavis Bryant at 46 years old if he plays great. It's like, oh man, we need him. Like,
you know what?
I mean, maybe, like I said, make me eat my words, Martavis. Make me eat my words.
I wonder if there's XFL cards.
Don't. I'd take that champ. You want that? You want that? Yeah, you're gonna want that champ over XFL card, man, or those. What's the ones the Texas Ranger Chuck Norris's? Those two Chuck Norris's pulls. Those are worth way more than any XFL card will ever amass.
Yeah, but yeah, well, we can basically say wrap up here. And I don't know. Again, obviously, still testing out the waters and everything. I don't know how we'll kind of come to a conclusion from time to time, and as time goes on, more than likely, if we can make the media push we'd like to make, some point this extra 20 minutes it looks like that'll get filled by whatever else.
Oh yeah, I guess I have two different times. You're right, because we're
we
hour 40. My phone one's off because I tried the Discord, so I thought we were at 2 hours right now. But
well, because I called you at 6, I think so, and then it took me a while to get online and get everything set up. But yeah, we can just basically say that's that. And then I guess my key would be to play an outro at this point. So I'll get that together and get something cool set up. Otherwise, I guess
get a cool outro, man. It's key, bro. I'm just kidding. That does awesome.
You just start. This is the moment you just start shitting on me. I can't believe you didn't have this ready.
Jesus, man, what kind of podcast is this? No, it was fun, man. Honestly, it's cool, and really just talking anyway, but just doing a little bit more preparation up front and being a little more prepared for it, because I don't want people to hear us talk about nonsense all the time, and make sure it's things that interest me too. Baby Dolphin Skull, I would have never looked that up.
Skull.
So, if anything, podcasts, even if you fail completely at it, you might actually learn some things in a couple of weeks. And by God, if you make it, by God, if your business takes off, because for us, yeah, it's a media push, and that's probably why I'm doing it. I honestly probably would have never done it if it wasn't for the business and Foxhound Gaming and kind of putting that all together, because what we want to do is be authentic and have a group of people around us that's like us.
So yeah,
vice versa.
I mean, I guess at the end of this, I'll just key it out by saying check out foxhoundgaming.com as it builds, especially right now. If anyone was watching this in the future, like they were just getting into it and they were like, oh, let me see their first podcast, they watch it and they go, oh, Foxhound Gaming looks great. Like a year later, they're like, oh, this website looks awesome. No, just starting to build, having a lot of fun doing it. And then, of course, subscribe, follow, and as I kind of pin down times for getting the podcast started, I will probably be making most of my updates on Instagram and Twitter. So follow us there, and until next time, I believe
sounds good, man. See you next Friday.
Dude, next Thursday.
I was already gonna be a day late, man. Day late.